There is a kind of peace that never breaks. Not when your boss yells. Not when the bills pile up. Not when the future looks terrifying. And today, you will discover the ancient system that creates unshakable minds. Have you ever wondered how monks can meditate for hours, completely serene while the world around them is in chaos? How they maintain absolute calm without apps, sedatives, or expensive retreats? The answer has nothing to do with positive thinking. It has to do with something they called Anshin, the mind at peace. And when you understand the 5 pillars of the system, you realize that the peace you've tried to build until now was built on sand. The ancient masters understood something about the human mind that modern psychology is only beginning to confirm. Your brain wasn't designed for peace. It was designed for survival, to react to danger. And that is precisely why your calm systems fail when real stress appears. But this comes at a price. This path does not accept those who just want to try to relax. It demands a sacrifice. The sacrifice of the reactive version of you that is a slave to its own emotions. Before I show you how this system works in practice, I invite you to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and activate the notification bell so you don't miss our future content. Thank you very much for your attention. Back to the video. Chapter 1. The Exhausted Man. Sao Paulo, present day. There was a 35-year-old man named Lucas. To the world, Lucas was a success. Good job in the financial market, modern apartment, busy social life. But inside, Lucas was disintegrating. He lived under the dominion of the voice. The voice in his head that never stopped. Did you check that email? Why didn't she answer your message? You're going to be fired. You're not good enough. Lucas woke up every day promising to change. Today I will meditate. He'd open an app, sit for 3 minutes. The voice would scream, "This is a waste of time. You have 50 emails to read." He would get up, more anxious than before. He promised to exercise. He'd go to the gym, but spend the whole time on his phone, answering work messages between sets. The pattern was always the same. Sunday night, tomorrow I start. I'll go to bed early, wake up early, meditate. Monday, 6 a.m., alarm goes off. The voice says, "Just 10 more minutes. You deserve it." Monday, 7:30 a.m., wakes up late, in a panic, gulps down coffee, and the stress cycle begins again. His girlfriend, Anna, tried to help. "Lucas, you need to slow down. You can barely breathe." "I can't slow down, Anna. If I stop, everything falls apart. You don't understand." He couldn't stop. Every night he stared at the ceiling, heart pounding, mind racing at 1,000 miles per hour. Every morning he woke up exhausted, thinking, "What if I really try this time?" And every afternoon, he was consumed by the chaos again. Until the day everything changed. The collapse. It was a Tuesday. An important meeting. The client was yelling. Lucas felt his chest tighten. The air wouldn't come in. The room began to spin. He wasn't being fired. He wasn't in danger. But his body thought it was dying. It was his first full-blown panic attack. He left the room, went to the bathroom, and collapsed on the floor, hyperventilating. And in that moment, he understood. The success, the apartment, the job. None of it mattered if he was at war with himself. He requested a 30-day leave of absence. Anna, seeing his desperation, remembered a place her grandfather used to mention. A small, almost unknown monastery in the mountains of Minas Gerais. A place with no website, no Instagram. Just an address. 2 weeks later, Lucas was there. A simple wooden place, surrounded by silence. There was only one man there, a quiet, elderly monk named Master Kenji. Kenji looked at Lucas, who was talking non-stop, nervously explaining his job, his stress, his panic. Kenji waited for him to finish and said only one thing, "You talk a lot. But you say nothing." I need help. I need peace." "Peace is not something you get," said Kenji. "It's something you discover when you remove what is not peace. The first lesson is silence. Not just of the mouth, but of the mind. Will you stay for 40 days? Lucas looked at his phone. The signal had already died on the way up. He was terrified. 40 days. Without work. Without distractions. But he looked at Kenji, and for the first time in years, he saw someone whose eyes had no noise in them. I'll stay. Chapter 2. The Death of the Reactive Self. Lucas woke before dawn to a wooden bell, a soft but penetrating sound. He looked around. There were 5 other students in the hall, already sitting on cushions, motionless. Master Kenji was in the center. In the Anshin Code, there are no attempts. There is only what is. From this moment on, you are seekers of stillness. Seekers sit when the bell rings. No negotiation. Lucas sat. 5 minutes later, his back hurt. 10 minutes, his leg tingled. 15 minutes, the voice was screaming, "This is ridiculous! What are you doing here? Your career is ending." The first pillar, the Vow of Silence, Ketsui. That afternoon, Kenji explained the first pillar. It wasn't a public vow to others, as in Ninpo. It was an internal vow, but with the same weight. "You will take a vow," said Kenji. "Not a vow not to speak, but a vow of non-complaint. For the next 40 days, you are forbidden from giving voice to your misery. No complaining about the weather, the food, the pain in your back, or your thoughts." "But how does that help?" asked Lucas. "The voice only has power if you feed it. When you complain, you tell your mind, 'Yes, you are right. The situation is horrible.' You validate the noise. As of today, you no longer validate it. Your identity changes. You are no longer Lucas, the stressed. You are Lucas, the observer." Do you understand what happened there? Lucas didn't promise to be calm. He promised to stop practicing stress. Our brain is a pattern machine. If you spend 10 years complaining, you become a world-class master at finding what's wrong. The Vow of Silence cuts off the fuel to that pattern. I'm not saying the monks understood neuroplasticity scientifically, but they understood it philosophically. What you practice, you become. Day 3, the first test on the 3rd day, the food was a simple vegetable broth. Lucas's voice screamed, "I pay taxes. I deserve a steak. This is prisoner food." He opened his mouth to complain to another student. But he remembered the vow. He fell silent, and just observed the thought. "Ah, there you are again. Interesting." The thought, not being fed, lost its power and disappeared. The departure in the first week, one of the students couldn't take it. During dinner, he whispered to Lucas, "Man, this is crazy. The silence is driving me crazier. I'm leaving." Kenji heard. He said nothing, just nodded and pointed to the door. The student left. No one ever complained out loud again, because everyone understood that the vow was not a suggestion. It was the framework that held everything together. But Lucas soon discovered that the vow only solved half the problem, because even without complaining, he was still fighting an internal war. The voice was still there. It was then that Kenji taught the second pillar of Anshin, the principle of the immutable rhythm. Chapter 2. The Death of the Reactive Self. Lucas woke before dawn to a wooden bell, a soft but penetrating sound. He looked around. There were 5 other students in the hall, already sitting on cushions, motionless. Master Kenji was in the center. In the Anshin Code, there are no attempts. There is only what is. From this moment on, you are seekers of stillness. Seekers sit when the bell rings. No negotiation. Lucas sat. 5 minutes later, his back hurt. 10 minutes, his leg tingled. 15 minutes, the voice was screaming, "This is ridiculous! What are you doing here? Your career is ending." The first pillar, the Vow of Silence, Ketsui. That afternoon, Kenji explained the first pillar. It wasn't a public vow to others, as in Ninpo. It was an internal vow, but with the same weight. "You will take a vow," said Kenji. "Not a vow not to speak, but a vow of non-complaint. For the next 40 days, you are forbidden from giving voice to your misery. No complaining about the weather, the food, the pain in your back, or your thoughts." "But how does that help?" asked Lucas. "The voice only has power if you feed it. When you complain, you tell your mind, 'Yes, you are right. The situation is horrible.' You validate the noise. As of today, you no longer validate it. Your identity changes. You are no longer Lucas, the stressed. You are Lucas, the observer. Do you understand what happened there? Lucas didn't promise to be calm. He promised to stop practicing stress. Our brain is a pattern machine. If you spend 10 years complaining, you become a world-class master at finding what's wrong. The vow of silence cuts off the fuel to that pattern. I'm not saying the monks understood neuroplasticity scientifically, but they understood it philosophically. What you practice, you become. Day 3. The first test on the third day, the food was a simple vegetable broth. Lucas's voice screamed, "I pay taxes. I deserve a steak. This is prisoner food." He opened his mouth to complain to another student. But he remembered the vow. He fell silent, and just observed the thought. "Ah, there you are again. Interesting." The thought, not being fed, lost its power and disappeared. The departure in the first week, one of the students couldn't take it. During dinner, he whispered to Lucas, "Man, this is crazy. The silence is driving me crazier. I'm leaving." Kenji heard. He said nothing, just nodded and pointed to the door. The student left. No one ever complained out loud again, because everyone understood that the vow was not a suggestion. It was the framework that held everything together. But Lucas soon discovered that the vow only solved half the problem, because even without complaining, he was still fighting an internal war. The voice was still there. It was then that Kenji taught the second pillar of Anshin, the principle of the immutable rhythm. Chapter 3. The Rhythm That Calms. You know that silent torture. Should I meditate now or after coffee? In the morning or at night? 10 minutes or 20? You think you're being flexible. In reality, you are wasting your mental energy on micro-decisions that weaken you before you even begin. Kenji called Lucas after 2 weeks. You are still hesitating. I see it in your eyes every morning. Lucas was surprised. But master, I sit every time. I've never failed. Sitting is not enough. You are still deciding to sit. As long as there is a decision, there is noise. We must kill the decision. The second pillar, the fixed point, Kenji explained, in true Anshin, time is not variable. It is constant. The bell rings at 4 a.m. because the universe needs constants. When you remove time as a variable, you remove the negotiation. Your body is a creature of habit, said Kenji. If you meditate at a different time every day, your mind never knows what to expect. It fights you every time. But when the time is the same, your body begins to prepare for stillness even before the bell rings. Lucas didn't believe it until the third week. On the 19th day, he woke up just before the bell. On the 25th day, his eyes opened naturally 2 minutes early. On the 30th day, he was fully awake, feet on the floor, mind clear before any sound. His body had created an internal clock. Not because he was special, but because the pattern was unbreakable. Chapter 4. The Form That Frees. But the fixed schedule only solved when to wake up. Lucas discovered a new battlefield: how to meditate. Some days he wanted to use a mantra. Others, a guided meditation he remembered from an app. Sometimes he wanted to focus on loving kindness. His mind had found a new opening for negotiation. Kenji saw this too. You are creating chaos where there should be form. In Anshin, we practice Kata, the perfect form, repeated infinitely. And then he explained something that sounded like insanity. For the next 40 days, you will do the exact same practice. No variation. 0. The third pillar, the single breath, Kata. I'll tell you what nobody tells you about variety. You think variety keeps things interesting. But variety is where peace dies. Every day you change your practice, your brain has to make micro-decisions. Should I focus on the breath or a mantra? Should I use music? Should I scan my body? Each decision is a crack where the old noise returns. The sequence was brutal in its simplicity. Sit. Count your breath from 1 to 10. If the mind wanders, gently return to 1. Do this for 40 minutes. Same order, same place, same time. Every day. The weeks of resistance. First week, Lucas's mind screamed for novelty. This is stupid. You're not evolving. You need an advanced technique. Second week, it was pure psychological warfare. The voice said, do something different today. Just for today. Just so it's not boring. But he remembered the vow. He continued the form. Third week, something strange happened. The mental resistance weakened. His brain realized there was no negotiation available. No matter how many times it screamed for variation, the answer was always the same: 1, 2, 3. Fourth week, day 30, the magic happens. Lucas was counting 4, 5, and suddenly realized there were no thoughts. For the first time in his life, the voice was quiet. It wasn't boredom. It was freedom. Freedom from the tyranny of constant decision-making. The science of automation neuroscientists call this strengthening the brain's default mode network and calming the amygdala. When you repeat an exact sequence of actions for approximately 30 to 40 days, the basal ganglia take over. The behavior becomes as automatic as breathing. Chapter 5. Practice without gaps. On the 35th day, Lucas woke up with a fever. His body was weak. His head was heavy. The temptation was obvious. I'll skip today. Nobody meditates when they're sick. I'll be back tomorrow. This is where everyone quits. Where you have quit before. Because you believe the all-or-nothing lie. If I can't meditate for 40 minutes, I won't do it at all. The fourth pillar, unbreakable practice, Mukyu. Lucas went to Kenji. Master, I am sick. Should I rest today? Kenji looked at him. Rest is different from quitting. You are asking me for permission to create a gap. What's the difference? The river metaphor, a river never stops flowing. During a drought, it becomes a trickle. But it never stops. The moment it stops, it is no longer a river. It's just a hole where water used to be. Your practice is the same. And then Kenji taught the fourth pillar, Mukyu, practice without gaps. Are you feeling weak today? Sit for 5 minutes instead of 40. Count your breath 10 times instead of 1,000. But do something. Because momentum is more valuable than perfection. Lucas sat. It was horrible. He shivered with cold. His mind was foggy. He counted to 10. And then he lay down. It was imperfect. It was completely sufficient because he maintained the momentum. The next day, the fever broke. His body returned to the full practice as if nothing had happened. If he had skipped, the voice would have a weapon. Well, you skipped yesterday. Why not skip today? But because he never created the gap, the pattern remained intact. Chapter 6. The Invisible Preparation. Lucas was about to discover something that almost broke him. Because no matter how strong your vow, or how fixed your rhythm, there is one obstacle that trips everyone up: the chaos of real life. Day 38. The emergency day 38. 2 days to go. The monastery's phone rang. It was Anna. A family emergency. Lucas's father had a serious problem. He needed to return to Sao Paulo. Immediately. Lucas panicked. Not because of the emergency, but because of his practice. 40 days. If he broke it now. Kenji stopped him. Do you think obstacles ask for permission? Do you think life respects your 40 days? But Master, I promised to complete. You promised to practice without gaps. You did not promise it would be convenient. This is your real test. Not when everything is quiet, but when everything is on fire. The fifth pillar, the prepared response, Zen-gi. And then Kenji taught the fifth pillar, Zen-gi, prior preparation. A monk is never caught off guard by chaos, because he has already decided his responses before the questions arise. When X happens, he does Y. No thinking, no hesitation. Just execution. Kenji made Lucas sit and list his real-world triggers. Traffic. Urgent email from the boss. Argument with Anna. Bad news. For each, they wrote the exact response. Traffic. When I am stopped, I will focus on the feeling of my hands on the steering wheel for 3 breaths. Urgent email. When I feel the panic, I will close my eyes for 5 seconds before replying. Argument. When I feel anger, I will say, I need a minute, and drink a glass of water before I speak. The return to the city. Lucas returned to Sao Paulo. The chaos hit him like a wall. Hospital, phone calls, panicking family. But that night, at the hospital, at 4 a.m., he went to an empty chapel, sat on the cold floor, and counted his breath for 10 minutes. He kept his identity intact so he could be strong for his family. He returned to the monastery on day 40. Kenji asked, "How many days did you miss?" "None, master." Kenji smiled. "Now you are beginning to understand." Chapter 7. The Mind That Doesn't Hesitate. The bell rang, marking the end of the 40 days. Lucas completed the sequence for the 40th consecutive time. No failures, no gaps, no exceptions. He expected to feel relief. But he felt only silence. A deep, stable silence. Kenji called him over. "How do you feel?" "Empty, master. But not in a bad way. Like a huge weight has been lifted. What left was the version of you that needed to decide to have peace. You have now achieved Fudoshin, the immovable mind." Fudoshin doesn't mean no thoughts, Kenji explained. It means no reaction. No internal conflict between what the voice screams and what you choose to do. When life attacks you with chaos, you don't have time to think, should I stress out or should I be zen? If you think, you lose. The response must be automatic, instantaneous, without the interference of the reactive ego. That is what you have built in these 40 days. You have killed the part of you that negotiates with chaos. Lucas understood. For the last 10 days, he hadn't had a single thought about negotiating. No, what if I skip today? The practice simply happened. "Now comes the real test," said Kenji. "Your 40 days are over. The fixed form is over. The question is, will you go back to who you were?" Lucas didn't need to think. "I will continue." Why? Because I am no longer someone who tries to meditate. I am someone who is stillness. Chapter 8. The Calm That Disturbs. 3 months later, Lucas was back at work. A massive crisis hit. A major client threatened to break a contract. The meeting room was pure panic. People yelling, blaming each other. The voice in everyone's head was at maximum volume. Lucas's boss turned to him, his face red. "And you, Lucas? Aren't you going to say anything? Don't you understand how screwed we are?" Lucas looked at his boss. He observed the panic. He felt the adrenaline in the room. But he was not the adrenaline. He paused. He breathed. And said calmly, "I understand the gravity. What is the first actionable step we can take to solve problem A?" The room fell silent. Their panic hit Lucas's calm and dissipated. Later, his boss called him in. "Lucas, you're calm today. It was strange. Almost inhuman. Weren't you afraid?" And Lucas remembered Kenji's words. People will start to look at you differently. They will call you cold. They will say you are distant, that you need to care more. Do you know why? No, master. Because your peace exposes their noise. You are living proof that all the excuses they make for their own chaos are just choices. And that makes them deeply uncomfortable. When your calm disturbs others, you are finally at the right level. Normal people get normal results. But peaceful people operate on a different level. A level where, "I can't handle this," doesn't exist in the vocabulary. Conclusion. The 5 pillars of the Anshin Code. The system isn't complicated. It has 5 pillars. Ketsui, the vow of silence. You stop feeding the voice. You stop complaining and change your identity from stress victim to observer of stillness. The fixed point. You choose a fixed time and remove time as a variable. The negotiation about when disappears. Kata, the single breath. You do the same simple practice every day for 40 days. No variation. The negotiation about how disappears. Mukyu, practice without gaps. You never create a complete gap. Sick equals 5 minutes. Busy equals 1 minute. But never 0. The momentum is protected. Zen-gi, The prepared response, you list your triggers and pre-decide your calm response. When chaos happens, you don't decide to have peace. You execute peace. These 5 pillars transformed Lucas from a man on the verge of a breakdown into a fortress of calm. Not because he got stronger, but because he killed the part of him that hesitated. And now I ask you, are you ready for this kind of transformation? This path is not comfortable. It's not easy. The Anshin Code will demand that you sacrifice a version of yourself. The version that loves the drama, the version that is addicted to complaining, the version that has 1,000 excuses for why today isn't the right day to have peace. And in that person's place, someone will be born who doesn't need motivation to be calm. People will look at you differently. They'll call you strange. They'll tell you to stress out more. Good. That means you're on the right track. Because the peace that disturbs others is the only peace that truly works. Your commitment. Choose your practice. 1. Make your vow of silence. Choose your fixed point. Define your perfect form. Commit to 40 days without gaps. And then watch what happens when you stop negotiating with your own chaos. If you liked this video, I invite you to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell. Remember, stress is only powerful when there is little peace. If you made it this far, thank you very much for your attention. Until the next video.